Hi, I'm Tom. It is September 14th, 2025, and I am 49 years and 93 days old. I am talking to you from the Ace Hotel in Seattle. This was the first Ace Hotel that they ever opened, and I remember when it was going up, it was being talked about and presented like this radical shift in the hotel industry. I think at that time, radical shift just meant that it was small and maybe a little bit twee and kind of did away with the more conventional amenities or the kind of hotel structure and presented itself as a bit more of a guest home with like communal bathrooms, and so it was cheaper. At least again at the time, it was presented as cheaper. Of course, now I think certainly the Ace Hotel in London will be like one of the more expensive places you can stay. Although this place I chose because it was one of the more affordable places in Seattle. But I also remember that the founder of Ace Hotel, whose name I forget now, he went to London for the opening of the Ace Hotel there and then ended up passing away. And I think it seems like he took his own life inside the hotel. And I remember that being framed as this kind of cultural commentary. And definitely at the time that was happening, the idea that a person's death could be a comment on culture felt very weird to me. And now that is one of the more common things that we talk about. Right now, a particular person's death is dominating the news cycle. And when I was in the airport in Amsterdam, it was impossible to get away from it. They were just showing it over and over. The governor of Utah praying that it wasn't someone from our country. Please let it be someone from somewhere else, and all of the weight that that statement carries. I still find it strange all these years later that someone dying has now simply become another talking point around the culture wars. I guess it's a convenient rallying point, but it's impossible to think about one person's death relative to how much death we now know has happened in Gaza, how many people have been killed, to avoid using an unnecessary euphemism or kind of perpetratorless rhetoric. And I do think that it is a tragedy when a person dies. It means something has gone wrong. It never, at least in our societies, it never means something has gone right. I just struggle with trying to think about life and death in these terms. And I think about the many appeals to the outside world, to the world outside Gaza, to not stop feeling, to not stop remembering. And I don't think I have that option. I don't know how I would stop that. Every death seems pointless. Every death seems tragic. Hi, I'm Tom. It is September 19th, 2025, and I am 49 years and 98 days old. I am back at the Ace Hotel. It is 6 days since the last time I recorded a video. I thought I would record in between. Turns out that did not happen. But here I am again after a week at an offsite with work. And my big takeaway from this week, and kind of from this moment in general, I should say Donald Trump is in the UK being wined and dined by British royalty. The US has just vetoed the UN Security Council from taking action against Israel. A lot is happening, and the main takeaway for me from this week was that people are generally good and want to do good things. That was my main takeaway. People I work with, at least. In the small part of the universe that I occupy, people are mostly, if not entirely, good and want to do good things. What does it mean to be good? Whatever. I don't know if that's going to be relevant to me moving forward to have solved that question in this video. But that was my takeaway, and I really appreciated being able to spend that time with those people because it's not a given. I have worked in a few places, thankfully just a few, where I would say not everyone was good, and it sucked, and it makes all the difference to be able to work somewhere where you feel that people want to do good things. Hi, I'm Tom. It's September 21st, 2025, and I am 49 years and 100 days old. After a festival, people talk about a period of time that's like the come down, and usually it's attributed to drugs and your dopamine levels, dopamine levels, and your serotonin levels, etc. And that's undoubtedly true, but coming back from an offsite where most of it was surrounded by work, and we've already talked about my ambivalence towards work, I think an underrated aspect of that feeling, which anyone who's ever gone to summer camp knows, is the shift from going around being a lot of people, some of the same people, to being on your own. And it kind of doesn't matter like whether you're literally on your own or you live with someone or you even go back to your family. You're just not around that same group of people. And it's usually here that people start to think about, the next trip or moving all into the same building or going and buying a farm somewhere. I have a feeling that in the very near future, there are going to be people who will really seriously explore quote unquote alternative ways of living. And some of those will involve what's, for lack of a new word, a very village type structure. I think people are going to start looking for what feels like a village while still being inside a city. This is not new. People have been trying these sort of things for a long, long time. I think what will be new is the kinds of people that'll try them and the directions that they will go. And I'm sure at some point tech will get involved and try and make an app that does this, but I think we can safely assume that will just be a disaster. I'm thinking about that a lot because I've just come back from a trip, but also because Rosie Spinks, who writes a newsletter that's fantastic, has just announced that she's going to be writing a book, and it's going to be entirely about her journey towards figuring out how to have basically a village in her life. And I think it's going to be fantastic and timely. And to the 3 people that regularly watch this video, I urge you to pick it up.